Ladies and gentlemen, you won't believe what just exploded onto the streets of Leeds. This is Britain now, and I'm here to expose the absolute bombshell that's shattering the Labour government's grip on our nation. Breaking. A migrant housing block incident has triggered a full-scale riot, with crowds surging, police helicopters swarming, and the entire city teetering on the edge of total collapse. Is this the spark that ignites the people's revolution against Starmer's elite betrayal? We're talking shattered glass, crushed bodies, and a tower on the brink, all because of Labour's disastrous immigration policies. Stick around, because this could end Keir Starmer's regime. Hit that like button now if you're furious about what's happening to Britain. Folks, let's dive straight into the heart of this catastrophe. It all kicked off in Leeds, that once proud northern city now buckling under the weight of Labour's open border madness. Picture this: a towering 22-story housing block crammed full of migrant arrivals. Temporary, they say, but we all know it's code for permanent chaos. Early morning, the place goes into lockdown. No explanation, just a mumbled order from some security guard. Stay inside for safety. Safety? What a joke. By noon, the rumors are flying like wildfire across Telegram, group chats, and local forums. Someone's collapsed on the 14th floor, a violent clash inside. The people of Leeds aren't buying the silence. And why should they? This is their neighborhood, their streets, being turned into a tinderbox by Starmer's elite cronies in Whitehall. The tension builds like a storm, ready to unleash. Small groups gather, parents whispering, teenagers watching, even delivery drivers pausing to sense the unease. Then, at 3:47 p.m., a bus dumps another wave of locals who've caught wind online. Confusion turns to fear. By 4:10 p.m., the crowd swells to over 1,000 strong, encircling the block like a noose tightening. Only 26 cops on duty? Symbolic at best, folks. A pathetic show from a government that's lost touch with the real Britain. And then, bam! At 4:19 p.m., the spark ignites. The ground floor window doesn't just break, it explodes in a hail of tempered glass, slicing through the air like silver daggers. People freeze for a split second. Then all hell breaks loose. The crowd surges like a tidal wave, bodies slamming together in panic. A man at the front gets lifted off his feet and hurled 3 meters across the pavement. Chain reaction. Screams, stumbles, hands grasping at nothing. 5 West Yorkshire police helicopters roar in, their searchlights piercing the dust, exposing every terrified face. The building looms like a wounded giant, exhaling chaos. But this isn't random, people. This is the direct result of Labour's betrayal on immigration. They've flooded our communities with unchecked arrivals, ignoring the voice of the people who voted for control post-Brexit. Nigel Farage has been warning about this for years. Take back control, he thunders. And now, look at Leeds crumbling. 78 people go down in the crush, a young man clawed under, a woman scraping her knees bloody on the pavement. It's heartbreaking, it's infuriating, and it's all on Starmer's watch. Now, let's rip apart the real villains here, Keir Starmer and his Labour elite. This isn't just a riot, it's a damning indictment of their mismanagement. Remember, folks, Labour promised to fix Britain after the Tories, but what have they delivered? Skyrocketing immigration numbers, over 700,000 net last year alone, according to official stats, and zero action on the grooming gangs or border security that Farage and Reform UK are fighting for. In Leeds, this migrant block is a symbol of their betrayal. Shoved into working-class areas without consultation, without resources, without a shred of respect for British identity. The police, overwhelmed and outnumbered. Officers forming lines that shatter like glass. One cop vanishing under the surge, helmet cracked. Their command van's drone feeds show 17 clashes, 3 rubbish fires, 120 people breaching the North Blockade. A drone gets bricked out of the sky, sparks flying, and inside the block, residents banging on windows, a baby crying, dust from the ceiling. Labour's lockdown order, no clear reason, just more elite secrecy. But the bombshell drops at 4:27 p.m. A leaked police message screams, "Risk of structural breach." It spreads like wildfire. 2.4 million mentions in under an hour on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. The crowd convulses, people running backward into those pushing forward. A toddler slips from a man's arms, caught by a stranger in a miracle moment. A police car topples sideways in a metallic roar, officers scrambling out dazed. Control? Gone. Authority? Shattered. Starmer's response from London? Too little, too late. He authorises 400 extra officers, the biggest Yorkshire deployment in a decade. But whispers of alerting the army hang in the air. Whitehall's buzzing with drone feeds, ministers glued to screens, one analyst muttering, "This is Grenfell on steroids." And Kemi Badenoch, or whoever's in opposition, is probably shaking their head. But it's Reform UK that's the real voice here. Farage would say, "This is what happens when you ignore the British people. Betrayal breeds chaos. Labour's net zero obsession drains billions while our streets burn. £15 billion budget shortfall under Rachel Reeves? That's money that could secure borders, not fund elite green dreams." You won't see this raw truth on the BBC. They're too busy protecting the establishment. But here on Britain Now, we're exposing how Labour's policies have ignited this powder keg. Immigration unchecked. British pride trampled. It's a recipe for disaster, and Leeds is the proof. Hold on tight, folks, because the backlash from ordinary Brits is nothing short of volcanic. The people's rage is boiling over, and who can blame them? Social media's on fire. Hashtags like #Leeds Riot and #Starmer out, rocketing to global trends in mere hours. Leeds locals aren't just peeved, they're seething, feeling like unwanted guests in their own backyard, shoved aside by Labour's migrant-first agenda. Protesters, faces masked with scarves and hoodies, grab whatever's at hand, bins, metal rods, torn-up sidewalk slabs, and unleash them at the tower's battered doors. Thud, shatter, thud. It's the raw cry of the silenced majority finally breaking free. Yet, in this whirlwind of fury, sparks of true British grit flicker defiantly. Picture a fresh-faced copper, no older than the crowd's teens, spotting two sobbing tots next to a flipped pram. He ditches his shield, drops to his knees, and hunkers over them like a human fortress as the mob crashes in. Only when backup bulldozes through does he haul them to safety, reuniting them with their hysterical mum in a tear-soaked embrace. Over on the east flank, an elderly migrant lady skids on the razor-sharp glass, littering the ground from earlier baton clashes. A bloodied security bloke, uniform in tatters, snags her mid-fall, steadying her with a firm grip while murmuring reassurances until medics battle their way over. And down Wellington Street, a clout-chasing live streamer halts his viral hunt upon seeing an old geezer wedged against a barrier by the panicked horde. Phone pocketed, he muscles in, carving space with sheer willpower to yank the man loose. His feed cuts to black, a poignant hush speaking volumes. The fury's thick in the air, emergency hotlines swamped with 63 distress calls in under 6 minutes. Reports of folks pinned and pulverized, acrid smoke billowing from the east, the very pavement quaking underfoot. Roads choke into gridlock nightmares, blaring horns mixing with chopper whirs, trapping families in steel cages of terror. This ain't mere disturbance, it's outright urban apocalypse. Reform UK diehards swarm online forums. Farage was right all along. Fresh polls from YouGov scream it. Reform spiked 7 points in northern strongholds. The masses are fed up with Labour's deceit, clamoring for sealed borders, reclaimed sovereignty, and unapologetic national pride. Echoes of Trump's MAGA fire and J.D. Vance's Rust Belt grit ripple across the Atlantic, fueling this populist blaze. Britain awakens. Listen up, warriors of the real Britain. This Leeds inferno isn't some freak accident. It's the harbinger of a nationwide reckoning that's barreling down on us like a freight train. If Starmer's Labour doesn't snap out of their elite-induced coma, cities from Manchester to Birmingham will detonate in similar fury. We're staring down the barrel of immigration meltdowns, Starmer's shameless Brexit U-turns, flip-flopping on EU ties like a weather vane in a gale, and their suicidal net-zero crusade that's bleeding families dry with skyrocketing energy bills. Reform UK? That's the lifeline. The bulldozer ready to smash through borders, hoist British identity high, and topple the smug, anti-people establishment once and for all. Let's game this out, shall we? If that Leeds tower had genuinely caved, God forbid, it'd be a cataclysm dwarfing Grenfell, bodies buried under concrete, headlines screaming, Labour's blood on their hands. But the deeper implosion? The utter evaporation of faith in our rotten institutions. Brits are swallowing rumours hook, line, and sinker because Starmer's crew has nuked public trust with their endless sleaze. We're talking 16 scandals in just 14 months, from Starmer's freebies fiasco to Sue Gray's dramatic exit. And that £22 billion black hole, Reeves, is desperately papering over. Asylum crackdowns sparking party revolts, immigration curbs drawing fire from their own ranks. It's chaos, folks, pure and unadulterated. Nigel Farage? He'd storm the podium, voice booming like thunder. This is the people's uprising against betrayal. The elites have sold us out, but reform will reclaim our sovereignty. And the polls? They're screaming validation. Latest YouGov trackers show Starmer and Reeves plunging to record-low favourability, while reform surges. Opinium's November 5 poll has them climbing. Electoral calculus, projecting gains that could flip seats in the north. More in Commons data paints a multi-party Britain, fracturing the old system, with reform hoovering up disillusioned voters fed up with Labour's austerity and broken promises. Global tides are swelling too. Trump's triumphant echoes and J.D. Vance's working-class fire are supercharging this conservative wave across the pond, inspiring Farage's charge. Britain's teetering at the abyss. Do we let these Westminster wankers erode our nation into oblivion, or rally behind reform to seize back control? This Leeds riot? It's not the end. It's the ignition for the revolution we crave. The people are rising, the elites are quaking, and Reform UK is the unstoppable force poised to reshape our destiny. Mark my words, the tide's turning, and it's glorious. In summary, Leeds has collapsed under Labour's immigration betrayal, exposing Starmer's regime as the weak, elite farce it is. From shattered glass to surging crowds, this is the people's wake-up call. Reform UK is rising. The future of British pride. Smash that like button if you're with us. Subscribe for more exposés. We hit 100k subs last week thanks to you. Comment below. Should Starmer resign over this? Is Reform UK Britain's saviour? And please, click super thanks to support the channel. Your motivation and funds keep us fighting the establishment. Our next video? An absolute mind-blower on Labour's latest scandal. You won't want to miss it. This is Britain now, standing with the people,